We are going to get started here, so let's give a big round of applause for our guests. All right, I want to thank our guests here, Jerjuan Howard, Edythe Ford, and Zeek Williams. Thank you again for showing up here on behalf of the English department here at Jalen Rose Academy. Again, we truly appreciate it. So, title of this panel is Giving Back to Your Community. So I was wondering if you could just briefly talk about what does community look like for you, or what does community mean to you? So we can start with you, Jerjuan.
Cool. I'm gonna do a quick introduction. My name is Jerjuan Howard. I'm the founder, executive director of a nonprofit called Umoja Debate League. So just like any other league, the NBA, NFL, MLB, we're a league where teams compete, but it's not for sports, it's debate. And so we teach you, just like you all, critical thinking skills, confidence building skills, self-expression, the whole nine. One of our side missions that's under our organization is called Umoja Village. So I grew up on the west side of Detroit, not too far from here, on Puritan. And we purchased 3 lots over there on Puritan. We transformed it into an outdoor community space. It features a community garden. We teach the community how to grow their own food. It features a stage, it features art, a whole lot of other things going on. And so to get back to your question of community, what does it mean to me? Exactly that, pouring back into the place that made me. Oftentimes Detroit has a bad rep, but I'm a product of Detroit. You all are products of Detroit. And community is wrapping our arms around one another to produce something that is livable and successful enough for you all to thrive here.
Hi, my name is Edythe Ford, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Organizing for MAC Development. I'm a longtime community organizer. I started protesting probably about at the age of 5 or 6, doing the civil rights movement with my family. My family has been in Detroit since 1917, so we were very involved in civil rights and union organizing. So it's something that's in my blood, and community is the people. It's the people and the power that the people build when we organize. That's how we get what we need. We have to do that as Black people, because if we don't, we start reverting back like the current climate where we're reverting back to things that happened in the past. So I have a passion to make sure, we're organizing from the babies to 100 years old. My motto is from Fannie Lou Hamer. If we got 2 or 3 people, we got a movement, and we're gonna change some stuff.
All right, what up, though? Y'all from Detroit or not? What up, though? Hey, look. Yeah, man, y'all turning up. This is it's some serious people sitting up here on this stage, man, and I feel like when we talk about what community means, this is exactly what community means. Community is culture. Community is environment. Community is us. I will backtrack a bit, introduce myself as well. I'm Zeek. I'm the founder and president of New Era Detroit. New Era Nation, New Era World. We do a lot of organizing in Black communities, not just here in Detroit, but across the country. Our goal is to make organization a lifestyle. So, a lot of times we'll see people get out and do like a cleanup per year, or do a backpack giveaway, or do a turkey giveaway, or pass out toys around Christmas time, and we look at that in our community as putting in work and pat ourselves on the back and go home and say we're doing a good deed for our community and for our people. Our goal is to be able to structure a way that we organize on a day in and a day out basis. What does organization look like in Black communities on a day in and a day out basis? What is our responsibility to our people? What is our responsibility to our community? And also, what is our responsibility to ourselves to be people in our community, to be Black people in one of the Blackest cities in America? So we big on accountability. We big on making sure that we stand on the business that we talk about, making sure we put our best foot forward to grow as a people and grow as a culture. So we appreciate y'all, today, and we're just gonna get into a couple of topics. I appreciate y'all for having us out today.
Thank you, everybody. So I just want to talk a little about what it means to give back to your community. Myself, as a teacher, when I first moved out here to Detroit in 2020, it was my goal to really make sure I give back to the people of Detroit, give back to the youth of Detroit, and have my part in giving back to the community. Try each and every day here for these kids. I see some of my students here right now. Make sure I'm doing the best I can to make sure my students are successful here, and make sure that they have the opportunities that they need to be successful. So, thank you. So if you can all just briefly talk more about your organizations and how you're specifically giving back to your communities, if you want to talk about a recent example or a recent success you've had, or a future project that you're working on.
Giving back is everything. Everybody in this room right now has had multiple people affect their lives. Not just parents, not just teachers, but so many people have touched your lives to bring you to the point that you're at right now. And that's how we continue to move forward. Nothing happens in silos or by itself, right? Nobody got to this point by themselves. It's a community that made us get to this point. So to continue to push that forward is giving back. It's something that Umoja Village is doing. We were starting a new initiative this year, right? We grow vegetables at our garden. But last year we gave it all away. This year we're going to sell it. But not for our own profit. It goes into this community fund. And then all the profit that we make from the produce that we sell, we gift it to a child that lives within a 2-mile radius of our garden, right? So a child that might be going to college, or someone might want to start a business, whatever the case may be, whatever we get from the land, we give it right back to a child in that community. So just ideas like that are our way of giving back to the community and to the children that exist within it.
I'm going to tell you an old thing and a new thing. So I went to high school in 1973. That's like forever ago. So we were bused. That was the year they were busing students. So they bused me out of my neighborhood to Finney High School, which is in Detroit. But Black people really didn't go or live east of Connors Avenue. When I got there, the parents were shooting at us, throwing bricks and rocks at us, and one day they flipped over the bus that we were coming home from school on. So I was used to organizing, because in the civil rights movement, when you were a kid, you were a part of organizing. You had to go to the meetings so you could learn. So we got home, and my grandfather said, I live with my grandparents, y'all got to do something about that. So that was one of my, as a teenager, biggest organizing activities that I had. And we organized and we made demands on the school, and the police were complicit in it too, because they wouldn't help us. They thought it was funny. So we organized, and I do power building. I can tell you all about that later, but power building is determining who are going to be your players and what stage in your activism that they're coming in. So we were protesting and everything, and at the time, it was a lot of gangs. And I talk to everybody. I don't care who you are. I'm gonna be your friend, okay? So we started power building. We was doing walkouts. We demanded to be in student council. so that we can make decisions. We formed a club called the Afro Club, so all the black students could meet. But that just wasn't enough. They kept on. So now I have to go. We went to stage 2. That's when I got my friends there was the gang members in there. So they started coming up to school to make sure nobody bothered us. And shortly after that, stuff started changing, and we got our power. We got our power back, and we got our peace so that we can come to school and get the same respect and treated with the same dignity as everybody, as the white students in the school. Our newest thing that I work for MAC Development is MAC Avenue Community Church Development Corporation. We are in the 48214 zip code where, and I live in the house that I grew up in, and so we help our neighbors there. And what I do is make sure that our community members and neighbors have the resources they need, not just to survive, but to thrive. I also advocate on governmental levels to have policies, city ordinances change, and I organize block clubs because the power is in numbers. We can go out and vote, but if we don't, the hard work is holding people accountable. And I make sure that they learn that. My newest group that I have is called the Burns Fisher Street, Seneca Street Junior Block Club. And those are kids like from 6 to 18 years old, kids and teenagers. So they were having a problem with our park. The basketball court was crazy. The sidewalks, the kids could ride their bikes because the sidewalks were messed up. So I started teaching them and getting them meetings with council people and having them having their own club so they can decide what they want to do, because just because you're young doesn't mean you don't know what's wrong. Just because you're young doesn't mean you got to sit up and tolerate conditions that you know is not right or safe for you or your family or your little brothers and sisters. So we started with the sidewalk thing, and I had them going to the city meetings, council meetings, and the mayor's meetings. For a year and a half, they kept making promises and didn't do anything. So the final meeting we had 6 months ago, it was a mayor's mandated meeting with our district, District 5. So I told them, one thing I always teach, this is why reading is important, and writing. I know y'all got an English teacher up here. Start having them to email and save those emails because we needed the receipts. They went to the meeting and the mayor goes, well, they already took care of that. And an 8-year-old told them, no, you didn't. Here's the receipt. Here's the emails. The mayor turned the color his orange or red on his hat. And guess what? The sidewalks got done in about 3 weeks. I worked with the older teenagers to get the basketball courts finished. We started calling around, and they found a company that would pay to redo the basketball courts. They got the Pistons and this other company to repay to do our basketball courts. And so they didn't just do the basketball courts, they did the whole park. So it's beautiful. They got the Piston colors is the ground that they play basketball in. They have hoops that can't be stolen. They can't get the nets off. Really nice. And so now they protect that park. They make sure, when they're up there playing that it's safe. They let the rest of the neighborhood know, or people that like to cause trouble don't come up there. This is our park. We running this. And that's one of my latest accomplishments in my community. Right now, I'm fighting for a home for everybody. Everybody deserves a home. Everybody needs to be housed. And everybody needs to be in a safe greenhouse. And everyone, regardless of their income in this city, because of all the displacement from racism in our city, in the past deserve to get at a minimum $50,000 to make sure their house is green and safe. And if you're young and you don't own a home, you deserve to have classes to learn what you need to do to buy your own home so that you can stay here in the city and take over the legacies that other people have left.
So we consider ourselves community organizational specialists. And what we do is take programs, we develop our own program from scratch, from the research that we've been able to do on the ground. And we develop programs, and we have created a concept that's called mud roots. So a lot of people may have heard of grassroots. And that term is kind of tossed around very, very loosely, grassroots this, grassroots that. When we first got into organizing, people would try to label us like, well, y'all this, y'all activists, or y'all grassroots organizers, and this, that, and the third. And honestly, the work that we have done and our approach, it hasn't really been seen in this era of time. So we wanted to define the work that we were able to do out in the community. So I'm telling y'all this because I want y'all to understand, don't never let nobody define, what you are, what you do. You define yourself. So what we did was we created our own kind of construct, and we call it the mud roots. So we looked at grassroots as surface work. We see all the people that come in the community, and they do some things, right, and I'm not saying that grassroots don't do, things that are productive to our communities, but I feel like grassroots are just surface work. You very rarely see grassroots work in the hoods and the ghettos of America, and that's where we work. We work in the roughest neighborhoods and the roughest communities, not only here in the city of Detroit, but across the country. So we utilize every single program that we develop, and we take it and master the art of being able to do outreach and engagement. So we have some of the best outreach and engagement programs in the country too as well. But one of the things that we are extremely proud of as an organization, if you see some of the brothers that's, here with me, we are very proud of ourselves to hold ourselves as vanguards of the community, right? So I know a lot of y'all at that age right now, and unfortunately, there's a lot of things going on in our community. We just had an 11-year-old girl get shot on the east side. We just had a 16-year-old girl come up missing. It's a lot of stuff going on in our communities. And for us, we feel that, particularly as black men, that we don't want to sit down and just let things like this happen. A girl come up missing and then don't nobody want to talk about it. Don't nobody want to get up and do nothing about it. A child being shot while laying in a bed. Don't nobody want to get outraged about that. Don't nobody want to do anything about that. So we hold ourselves accountable for doing the dirty work, getting out here. We put ourselves in a position, we not scared of nobody. We don't care who you are. If you do wrong by our people, we come to see you. That's right. So for us, we put ourselves in a position to be vanguards for y'all because we want to show y'all, particularly black men that's out here, what y'all responsibility and role should be in y'all community. It's not just about growing up and having a family and taking care of your family. It's about doing that, but also making sure that you take care of your community and the people that's in your community, because that go hand in hand. So us being able to stand for ourselves in a way to where we say we're not tolerating certain things in our community, and we stand on the business of our people, and that our people have somebody when people don't think that they have a voice at all. That's one of the things that we're extremely proud of as an organization. So when y'all see people out here mistreating us, abusing us, doing us wrong, harming our children, harming our elders, doing stuff to our children, our sisters, we out here. And we want to make sure that people see that. Y'all got to be able to see this type of representation because it hasn't been seen since the 60s and the 70s. So for us, it is extremely important that we show what it looks like for black men to stand up in our community. So not only black men, but sisters too. We got amazing women in our community, in our organization too as well. And it go hand in hand. So this is about action, it's about putting in work. It's about being visible. And it's about making sure that people understand that our community is our responsibility.
Zeek, I really like what you were talking about, just not accepting the situations around you and being fearless with pushing back against the norm, the standards, the things against you, working against you. My students, some of them heard this story, some of them haven't, but one of the things that really pushed me to be active in my community was circumstances I grew up in. I grew up with police violence, gang violence, SWAT teams coming in my neighborhood, drive-bys, all the above. And all those situations for me, of course, I had a negative view on my community, right? It took me some time to have that love for my community. But it was those male figures in my life, it was the men that stepped to me and guided me to a path of building. I could have chose to destroy, or I chose to build. I chose to build. And that was one of the things that really made me active in my journey of becoming a teacher, making sure I'm giving back, being active in my community. So wherever I am, and I've come here to Detroit, and this has become my community now. I think people have accepted me, and all these great people up here on stage. So, thank you. If you can just speak on what was one of the earliest things that motivated you to be active in your community, or your first instance of being active in your community. I think a lot of these young scholars, they might be nervous to step up and make that first step. So if you can speak on one of your earliest memories or things that motivated you with giving back.
Yep. Man, I think that it was kind of poured into me by my parents and grandparents at an early age, but it was probably around you all's age where I kind of made a commitment that I was going to help my community regardless, and to work with or against anybody to do that. Trayvon Martin happened while I was in high school. And that led me, and I seen the case play out and everything like that. Zimmerman got off. And I wanted to become a lawyer at that point. I was like, my role in this fight is in the law department, right? Like, we can help our people through the law. And that was, I think I was 10th grade at the time, the same time I took this debate course that kind of led me into what I do now. But again, just looking at that situation, I'm like, we not powerless here, right? We not powerless. We have the tools and everything we need to progress our communities. And it was at that moment, seeing that verdict play out right in front of me, as a 15, 16-year-old, and it changed my whole dynamic about what I wanted to do for my community. And like I said, I was literally your age. And I wasn't, like I said, like as fierce as I am now, regardless. So I just knew, like, oh no, once I come of age, things gonna change around here. And that was my spark that kind of got me into doing the work that I do now.
My spark was just growing up in organizing and during the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement. So that was just something that came natural to me. It really got enforced. So I had another incident happen when I was 8. And we talk about the church now in a different way because it doesn't really do what it did in the past. The church was the sanctuary for the civil rights movement. You guys are familiar with that term, Black Power?
That's right. Yeah.
That was created in a church down in Alabama.
That's right.
The Black Panther emblem, that church created it and the Black Panthers adopted it.
That's right.
So when we were kids, say, one time we were 8, and so I've been all over the country protesting ever since I've been a kid, even in Detroit. So one time when we were 8, I was 8, we were in Yazoo, Mississippi, and the police decided to arrest all us kids. Then they took us to 3 different county jails so that it took 4 days for our parents and the adults to find us. I was scared at first but our parents taught us what to do and to make sure that we don't even appear afraid and know that they was gonna find us and they were coming to get us. So from that moment on, I said, I'm not gonna tolerate being degraded or treated less than a human, and I'm not gonna allow that to happen to anyone that's around me, even if it's a stranger. I'm jumping in. And I was just telling them, like, some stuff I do, I need to stop doing it by myself. But I grew up in a family of all men, so I have it takes a lot to make me afraid, and even if I am, I'm not gonna show it. So then from there, all my life has just been organizing. And one thing my grandmother taught me is that if that family's house lights and gas is off, we gonna do something about it, because that's gonna start coming down to the block until it hits me, until it hits us. So I just have that spirit in me. I just do that. I just do it. Is what you have to do. You have to do the right thing. Sometimes if you have to sacrifice yourself to do it, you have to do the right thing, because you guys are getting older now. What, you're in 12th grade, 11th grade? Wait, hello, y'all sleep? 9th, okay. 12, you guys have to protect that generation that's behind you. You guys can't be afraid to speak up, because that thing we did at Finney about that bus, it made things change all over the city. The protests we did, Detroit police were terrible when I was a kid. All the things we went through, they got some problems now too, don't get me wrong. But they were ugly back then. Those changes helped you. Being in a school that's all black and your dignity being affirmed, those are the things we fought for you. And so that's why we have to keep those legacies going on and pass it to you. It has to be done your way. And that's one thing, and my family, they always respected. They would give us advice. And they didn't condemn us or get angry with us if we didn't do it their way. But they were there if we needed help. If they had to come get us out of jail, I've been to jail about 14 times protesting. But my people was always there. And that's what community is about. It's about talking to everybody. I talk to the guy selling drugs at the gas station. We're going to have a whole conversation, Don't be up here selling drugs to kids. Don't be trying to sell a gun, because I know y'all up here giving kids guns. Don't do that. These are the things, and they respect me for it. They gave me a nickname, Queen. So at first I was like, they're doing too much, but my pastor and my grandfather, not my grandfather, but my brother say they do that because they respect you. So you can never be afraid, to do the right thing, no matter what it may cost you, because you always gonna come out on top, but not just for you, but for everybody.
Why did I get into this and start doing this? We actually this year we celebrate 10 years of organizing. This is our 10th year. And I remember when we first started, nobody gave us a chance. You feel me? They just thought that we was loudmouth black folks who was misdirected, misguided. Because when we first started, and the reason that I originally first started, it's a lot of things, but the number one reason was I just felt like we was soft. I'm gonna be honest with you, as a culture. We were getting ran over. We want to shoot and kill each other for every single thing, but everybody else is doing everything that they want to do, from politicians to But, you know, people out here harming our kids and community, from the police to, you know, people who doing business in our community. There was no accountability around the board. And I would look at all these people who want to play tough, all these people who think they gangster, all these people that think they hard, and none of these people were standing for anything. So what's the definition of gangster? What's the definition of being somebody that's supposed to be, you know, somebody who's standing for something? And we never seen that in our community. So for us, it was like, you know, we want respect, and not just from everybody else, but amongst ourselves first. So the first thing that we did was made sure that we looked ourselves in the mirror and said, if we're gonna do something, we're gonna have a inkling of an opportunity to create change in our community, we have to look at ourselves first. You feel me? Because we can't demand respect from anybody else if we don't respect ourselves. So if we're not doing the necessary things to respect ourselves as people and as a culture, how can we expect other people to respect us? So once we got together, we had that formation of understanding of being able to respect ourselves. And then after that, we got right busy to the block, making sure that everybody understood that we gonna be respected as a culture. So when we first started, I did say that a lot of people didn't give us a chance. Why? Because anything that happened in our community that went against our people, especially women and kids, we showed up 100, 200 deep in all black, and we shut stuff down across the entire city, and we did that for a year straight. Anybody who was in, like the stores that she said we went, you can't, ain't nobody selling no drugs in this store. And one thing that happened that was big when we first started, it was a gas station, really the one right up the street on 8 Mile in Southfield. It was that gas station right down the street. And the clerk had pulled a gun out on 2 kids who went in there, and they accused them of stealing some chips. And the guy came from around the corner, pulled a gun out on the kids, put the gun to their head, and made them, put the chips back or whatever the case may be. The guy pulled the gun out on the kid, y'all age. Parents was so erupt at this, like they were so disgusted. They went to the police, they couldn't get any help down at the police station. They went to the news, they couldn't get any help, with the news and the media. So they walked into our meeting one day, and they explained the situation, they explained what happened. And, from there, it was, once again, over 100 of us. And we said, okay, well, we're gonna take it into our own hands. So what we did was we organized the plan to shut the gas station down. And not just picket signs and none of that. We said we about to do this completely different, like they ain't never seen it before. So 100 people in motion to a business to shut down the gas station and get out of that situation. Our respect, the parents was there. We made sure that the clerk who pulled the gun out was arrested and fired. The changes were done at that gas station, and that was just the first of many things that we had to do and stand for our people when it comes to us getting our respect out in our community. But we're big on making sure that we put ourselves in a position of accountability and respect. If you don't have those two things, you can't. You have a shaky foundation. If there's no accountability or if there's no respect, you have a shaky foundation. So for us, we want to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to be pillars in our communities and vanguards in our community. So starting there, once again, okay, they just gonna run their course. They gonna shut down a bunch of gas stations and liquor stores and things of that nature, and then they'll be watered down and gone tomorrow. But we develop plans, we develop programs, we start to move around the country, we start to actually study our communities and study our people so that we can be the best. And our goal has always been be the best. We want to be the best organizers in the game. How do we organize in black communities? How do we change the energy in our environment? So those are things that we work on, but there's so many different angles to change an environment. It's not just one dimensional. A lot of people want to say stop the violence and do all this stop the violence stuff. That's being reactionary. You want to try to stop something that started already. How do we change the environment so that violence isn't leading off when it comes to those things? So we just super big on that, making sure that we're able to put ourselves in position to change the environment and stand for something. It just said, like, y'all gonna have to take y'all position and be accountable for the generation that's below y'all. Y'all gonna have to do it. It's gonna be on y'all. One day it's gonna be on y'all back. I love the brother Jerjuan so much. He only 25 years old. And I met you probably younger than that when we first met. We were, you know what I mean? And he was coming right out of high school and just ambitious, you know what I mean? And now this brother is doing amazing things in his community, man, and making a real change, and he young doing it. So be community people, you feel me? Whatever it is that y'all are doing, whatever it is that y'all want to do, make sure that y'all have community in mind. That's how you build a legacy. That's how you be remembered and not just another person in the dirt when it's your time. For real, stand for something, be powerful, you feel me? Live a life with meaning. That's what this is about. So I'll leave it with that.
Before we start a Q&A here with students, since this is the English department organizing this event, whole stage here seems like one of the key skills was communication with you being successful with your organizing. So can you just speak on the value of that skill of communication, expressing your thoughts, your values, you know, in terms of grant writing, permits, working with partnerships in your communities, just the value of communication, how that's helped you.
Get in here or something? Yeah. All right, cool. But communication, extremely important in regard to anything. Again, I run a whole entire debate league. Our whole entire thing is speaking to one another, understanding, verbal and nonverbal communication. Because when you're trying to build something, you're gonna need the help of other people. If you can't convey that message of what you're trying to build to gain support, then you will fail, right? So communication is extremely important, being able to understand what other people are saying, but also relay your message to them in a way that's effective and makes sense. It goes beyond words, not just verbal neither. Being able to write and understand what you're reading and what someone's trying to say to you, whether it's letters, whatever the case may be. That's the foundation of all of this stuff. It's the foundation of everything that we all are building, right? It's communication at its most pure form. So take it very seriously. Again, I teach debate. I was going to go to law school. I still might. But communication, every position I've been in my life has required that skill to be sharper at each step of the way.
You have to go to law school. We need more lawyers in the hood. That's right. Because our problems come from politics and the law.
That's right.
So we need lawyers. Communication is important. Now I'm gonna tell you, I love to talk. By profession, I'm a historian. I will talk your head off. I can tell you everything about when black people got here in Michigan, when it was a territory and was slaves, all the way down. I can talk. But the key thing is listening. I do nothing without community input. If somebody come, they ask me about coming to testify about ShotSpotter, I said, to support it, I don't do anything unless I talk to at least 200 people in my neighborhood. And if they don't want it, I don't want it. And that means you have to know how to listen and respect different people that may not be like you, may not be in the type of families you come from. You have to listen to everybody. And then one other thing, read. I hear so many people say the last time I read a book was when I left high school. No. Read. Learn how to read. It develops your critical thinking skills. Keep a journal and learn how to write. Keep a journal of your ideas and your thoughts. Because I don't just go out and do protests or lead things. I learned how to give fundraise to get money from people. I know how to change how I'm speaking and how I'm going to speak in different circles. I write grants. I help our people in the neighborhood develop their nonprofits and write their 501c3 IRS letters. And then I teach you how to do it so you can teach somebody else. So communication and especially listening is key. is key, because you know what? You have a group of people that do the listening and talking, and then you got the group of people that when they don't want to listen to you, you got your other team, like this brother right here. They don't want to listen to me, I'm gonna call him. Now you gonna deal with them. You know, this is why you get to know everyone, and they're reading and listening. So remember, you have to read, you need to listen. I was just telling them when I came in my phone, I have an alarm every day. I'm shutting everything down, and I'm gonna read something I wanna read for an hour. It could be whatever you wanna read, but I'm gonna spend an hour on that. If I see words that I don't know, I have a journal. I write those words in there and look it up and write the meaning down and make that a part of my vocabulary. So reading is very important, and being able to communicate and listen to people. And another thing I do to break down barriers where people have talked to me, my folks from the country, so I learned this from being in the summers down south. I'm gonna hug you, and if you got a problem, I'm gonna feed you. Because that way, you're gonna tell me everything when you get through eating my fried pork chops and gravy and mashed potatoes.
Communication is key, but comprehension is one in itself with communication. So communication is key, but comprehension is one in itself with communication. So we can communicate all we want to, but if you don't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, then that's a problem. You know what I mean? So understanding is really where it starts. So to be able to understand, you know, the problems in our community, to be able to understand the things that, you know, are causing harm and havoc to our community, to be able to listen to people in the community. I love the fact that you said before you go make any decision, I'm going to talk to the people in the community. We are big on that. We don't make no decisions. It's people right now that's sitting downtown making decisions for you that you don't know and ain't never came to talk to you. They don't even know how y'all feel about things. They ain't never been to no auditorium to sit down and hear y'all or anything, but they making decisions for you. You know, we gotta be able to put ourselves in a position where we comprehend things and have an understanding of things, and then communicate that, you know, in a way where we able to see change. So, you know, not gonna be long-winded, but communication and comprehension is extremely important. We gotta be able to communicate things, and that comes from reading and understanding. If y'all don't read, if y'all don't go to school and, you know, get the proper knowledge that y'all supposed to get, y'all won't be in a position to understand or comprehend. So it's extremely important, man. Communication, comprehension, and putting that in a way to where we able to really grow and develop as a community and as a people.
Thank you. Now I want to transition a little bit here. We have the three amazing guests here for all of you here at Jalen Rose. So I want to open up to any questions from all of you.